Capcom has gone full woke. The company's localization team announced that they are indeed doing sensitivity reading for characters as well as pushing inclusive storytelling through their localization. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And if you're unfamiliar with Capcom, they have an extensive library and are one of the more recognized video game publishers and developers in the space. Obviously, they just released Dragon's Dogmas 2. They do Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, Ace Attorney, Mega Man, Dead Rising, Lost Planet, and more. So this is a pretty big video game developer based out of Japan. You've heard of Capcom, right? But for those who don't, now you know. But this is what the official Capcom localization team posted on X. They said, "What is localization? Embark on a global adventure through the lens of game localization. Beyond mere translation, we're diving into the art of cultural adaptation, preserving context, and inclusive storytelling." Massive, massive red flag confirming that they have gone woke through their localization team. Join us as we unravel the intricacies that make games resonate worldwide. The account added localization isn't just about translating words, it's about adapting the game for a global audience. Think cultural nuances, idioms, and regional flair. A good localization makes players feel right at home wherever in the world they are. This is a lengthy post, so bear with me here. They go then and write this: the importance of context. Context lost in translation, preserving the vibe is key. Jokes, references, and even gameplay elements might need a little cultural remix. It's important to find that sweet spot to make sure players get the intended experience without feeling like something got lost in the process. Well, it sounds like you're completely making things up. Cultural remix there. And obviously talking about gameplay elements as well, that the localization team is changing. Bridging the linguistic gap. Each language has its unique structure and cultural context. Our teams work to ensure the narrative and dialogue maintain coherence and emotional impact. It's not just about words, it's about capturing the essence of the story in a way that resonates with the target audience. And then here we go. These are the biggest red flags right here. Cultural sensitivity in characters. Character design and development must be culturally sensitive. What may be acceptable in one culture, it might be offensive in another. Localizers play a crucial role in ensuring that characters are relatable and respectful, avoiding stereotypes or other references that could be perceived as negative in specific cultures. So they are radically changing these games based on people potentially being offended. This is utterly ridiculous. Can you imagine offending the Aztecs by depicting them as a brutal human sacrifice individuals? No, you wouldn't, because what they are doing is wrong, and you would want to show them that that is wrong and actively oppose that. This stuff is ridiculous. There are superior cultures out there. You shouldn't be worried about offending people that are doing objective evil. This is stupid, sick, and wrong. And then here we go. We get even worse here. Inclusive language and representation. So they're going to be pushing globo homo on you. Localization efforts extend to promoting inclusivity through language and representation. This involves adapting not only the linguistic aspects, but also addressing gender-specific language. So not only just globo homo, but they're pushing transgender ideology as well. Cultural norms and diverse perspectives. Again, I don't want to see the Aztecs and their butchering of people, their human sacrifice, as some kind of good. Absolutely not. That's not a diverse perspective I'm interested in seeing portrayed as something just and right, because it's not. The aim is to create an immersive experience where players from different backgrounds can identify with the characters and narrative. This can be very challenging for certain languages due to grammar. Yeah, like Spanish, because it is gendered and you people are trying to change the language. Sick, evil, and wrong. And then we got here, adapting humor and wit. Humor often relies on cultural references and wordplay, making it a challenging aspect of game localization. Translators must carefully navigate puns, jokes, and cultural references to maintain the intended comedic effect. This requires a deep understanding of the target audience's sense of humor while staying true to the original wit. Or you can just share what the Japanese who created it, what their wit is and what their references are. And people can look that up and see what it is and be like, oh, okay, I get it. You don't have to completely change it so it's something completely different than what it was intended to be. Consistency in terminology. Maintaining consistency in terminology is crucial for a smooth and coherent gaming experience. This applies not only to translating words, but also to ensuring that game mechanics, instructions, and lore are consistently represented across languages. Establishing a cohesive language system helps prevent confusion and enhances the overall gaming experience for players worldwide. So, former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern reacted to this post, writing, Capcom goes full woke in their localization, changes characters, gameplay, and more for DEI. I think that is accurate. We just read their post. That is exactly what they are doing. Obviously, they don't reference DEI, but it's very clear that's exactly where this stuff is coming from. He then says this is their Osaka-based localization team, which is full of Westerners and localization who are extremely left-leaning and control the narrative. And he then asks, how do I know? My insider scoop posts tomorrow, so it sounds like he will be sharing more information about what is going on with the Capcom localization team tomorrow, Saturday, April 13th. So, and then obviously here's the official that post from the Capcom localization team that they put out earlier today. And Kern is right in describing Capcom as going full woke based on their confirmation that they're actively engaging in cultural sensitivity with characters and inclusive language and representation, and obviously changing gameplay and everything else to adapt to these evil ideologies. And these ideologies aren't evil. Bishop Robert Barron explained this very succinctly in an interview with Angelus News. He says, first, they advocate a deeply antagonistic social theory whereby the world is divided sharply into the two classes of oppressors and oppressed. Second, they relativize moral value and see classical morality as an attempt by the ruling class to maintain itself in power. That goes to my comments there about that there are indeed cultures that are better than others because they don't have they don't embrace moral relativism, or they're not embracing evil things like human sacrifice as like a pinnacle of their civilization. Third, they focus not so much on the individual as on racial and ethnic categories, and hence they endorse the idea of collective guilt and recommend a sort of reverse discrimination to address the injustice of the past. We see that in the inclusive language and the characters' cultural sensitivity for characters and gameplay. Fourth, they tend to demonize the market economy and the institutions of democracy as part of a superstructure defending the privileged. Fifth, they push toward equity of outcome throughout the society rather than equality of opportunity. And finally, wokeism employs divisive and aggressive strategies of accusation that are contrary to the gospel demand to love our enemies. He then added, and finally, wokeism employs divisive and aggressive. I just read that. Sorry. Suffice it to say that Catholic social teaching stands athwart all of this. It wants social justice, of course, but not on woke terms. Like, this is what these people do. They take things that are good, just, and right, twist and warp them and try and turn them into something evil. The Tolkien line from The Lord of the Rings comes to mind. That's exactly what they have done to the term social justice. And he goes on and says that wokeism's heroes are not wokeism's heroes Catholic social teachings. Its heroes are not Marx, Nietzsche, and Foucault, but rather Isaiah, Amos, Jeremiah, obviously Jesus Christ, Ambrose, St. Thomas Aquinas, and St. Teresa of Calcutta. So obviously creating a distinction there on the philosophy taught by people, well, not even a philosophy, it is a way of living, a Christian way of living, taught by Jesus Christ, obviously preached by St. Ambrose, St. Thomas Aquinas, and St. Teresa of Calcutta. Very different from the ideologies and philosophies taught by Marx, Nietzsche, and Foucault. But this isn't just Capcom either. We saw this recently from Nintendo of America. They have a job listing for a localization production specialist, Japanese, for Nintendo of America that requires the employee to have, quote, awareness of culturalization and DE&I related topics. This is on their career page. This duty is the 9th of 18 bullet points under the localization duties of the position. Most of the other bullet points do seem innocuous and related to the position, and then I go through some of them there. But that position also includes a marketing section, and it says under the marketing duties, it requires the employee to leverage quote, understanding of game content and target market trends and culture in making recommendations and proposals related to market strategy and tactics. Furthermore, the listing also states that the employee will be able to, quote, act as a spokesperson for Nintendo by demonstrating games to media, participating in interviews, presenting on live streams, and supporting other promotional efforts. Obviously, would then indeed be pushing the DEI and stuff in the marketing as well and making decisions related to strategy and tactics on that. So, it's not just Capcom. We're seeing it at Nintendo of America. We obviously know it is embedded at Microsoft. Covered a lot of that stuff earlier. I guess it was like last month, all the stuff that they're doing. So we know this stuff is embedded in a lot of these companies, and we're finding out that it is now clearly infected Capcom. And let's just take a look at what some of the responses are here. Obviously here, just so you know, we are on this post. But we got people like, make your game for the non-existent modern audience and you'll receive their non-existent money. They're calling it global audience now, but same thing, right? Agree. Dissolve this branch of the company immediately. 100% agree. This is what you're doing, there is absolutely no value in this. All you're going to do is lose customers and suffer in sales and lead to a contraction of your company and layoffs. This person gone and on says, this sucks. Your customers hate it. Just translate the game and don't try to propagandize us. Exactly. That's exactly what they're trying to do, is to propagandize us with evil ideologies. Evil ideologies is what they're trying to do. No, we do not want that. This is exactly the opposite of what your customers want. You might as well have a team that goes through and breaks random things in the game. Exactly, because that's exactly what this does. This other person says, Capcom is back to their crappy ways. Enjoy bankruptcy because I ain't coming back. AAA companies will not learn until they are close to failing financially. People want translation, not localization. Just use AI. They don't have bias if not programmed in at the outset. So there you go. I mean, you can see the responses here are massively negative. People do not want this. This is coming from the top down. They're trying to force this on you. They're trying to propagandize this to you because they want to change your behavior. They want you to start thinking like they do. They want you to buy into this evil ideology. They want you to live in like this despair that ideology promotes, despair and destruction. We must say no. We must reject this. And it's not hard to say, I'm not going to be buying any Capcom games. You might be the biggest Street Fighter fan in the world, but hey, you can go back and play older Street Fighter games. You don't need to be going out buying new games. Grums has done a really good job on this. Moratorium on all AAA games. Just go back and play through your old Steam catalogs, or dust off your older consoles and play the games you already have in your collection. But let me know what you guys make of what Capcom is doing here. I obviously have expressed my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this, about Capcom going fully woke. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.